Ladies, gentlemen, and the fabulous folks of the non-binary, welcome to the 4th episode of Battle of the Heroes and Villains, where this time we'll be taking a look at the rather popular character of Faerthurin. First of all, I'd like to issue an apology for how long this has been to get out. There were some personal issues in the previous weeks, and then I was kind of busy with some other projects. Hopefully things will be a lot swifter and a lot smoother going forward from here. So I'd like to apologise for lateness on this one, as well as how late it took me to finally get the Arcloth project edited and presented to you. Also apologies for the audio quality on Jalarum's video, and hopefully the Arcloth one was much better. Apparently there was something going on with Audacity, so I've now switched to a new recording software, and I hope it'll be far more to your tastes. Anyway, let us not waste any further time, and let's bring up Faerthurin, where we see from this chart that she scored a very high score of...
I'm sorry, I need to draw something.
Oh wow, that's really high. Yeah, so anyway, as you can see here, an overwhelming 97% of voters gave her an A, and only 3% even gave her a B. Which means that if you do the math and consider A a score of 5 and F a score of 1, then, yeah, she has a shockingly high score of 4.97, which that'd be difficult to beat. Let's get to the comments, shall we? Holy shit! Samuel, player in training, says, "Reason I give Faye an A is because she is one of, if not the most developed character in all of the lore of Welcome to the Show. She went from distrusting humanoids early, to being willing to give them a chance, to considering the party among her greatest friends. She's a hero who overcame her own trust issues." Spectra Star writes, "I rank Faerthurin an A on my list, only behind Amber. She is a very well developed character which could rival Amber herself. Her reactions to Simula when they met her after coming back following the meeting of the Files and Kraken fight was priceless. Her reactions were quite funny as well. She ranks number 2 on my top 5 Welcome to the Show characters." Darth Urban 226 writes, "Faye would be an A for me because she goes from an antisocial bookworm to a better person in general. Plus she's badass, beautiful, and a damn powerful wizard." Behemoth writes, "I give Faerthurin an A because 1, she be wizard and I love magic. 2, she went from a book-loving but antisocial nerd to one of the most caring party members. She's beautiful but very much capable of wrecking you every which way from Sunday. Highlights for her are fighting her father in the Nightmare Beast, so Cheery and Giles tried the Fire of Idol, the rematch with her father when he offered to save her moment at the Demon Wars, so gone, that's an Act 20 scene for everyone involved in my opinion. Her sacrifice in Year 11 Cake Terrified at the journey through Love Stella. From your house to the dead, come home with them, right, her rivals are old, of the arena, comes with the 2 pies, final last, but not place, the battle is as the also soul, and the same rocks and haste, take part in TV, the vanity. Okay. Oh, sorry for that. I don't really need it. It helps share my love. I'm gonna die now. Creative Burst writes, "I rank Faye an A. She was one of the best character development in the story. Her struggle with not believing she was a good person and unable to help Jem was one of the most emotional peaks of the early season. The joy that she felt when she learned that she was in fact lawful good was a major highlight. Her relationship with Jalen was also an important part of the development, as I think it helped her on her path to warming up to others. She started the story being indifferent to people and saw Jalen more as an annoyance. Then she got to know and care for him. I first remember noticing this when she was worried for him during the Guile trial. It also helped, by the way, Josh, Guile trial. It also helped that her worry over these feelings directly connected to her feeling she wasn't good enough for him, making her insecure of her feelings towards him. Even after these hurdles were overcome, it's been a joy to watch her grow stronger and her connection with others grow deeper. Kaleidoscope Dreamer writes, Faye is an A-tier character. She's a powerful archmage who's the voice of reason of the party in tough times. Her story is both beautiful and bittersweet. She went from an antisocial bookworm who would close herself off from everyone, Sansalou said, to arguably the heart of the team who refused to give up on others, even if they themselves had. She never got the chance to reconcile with her father, who frankly is unworthy of her, but she has gained new members of her family through the party. Jaminia, Hannah, and the children she and Jalaram, her one true love, got to raise, hopefully. I would give her an S rank if we were using a different system, because she and Jalaram really do deserve it. Ace of Flames writes, A. Easy. She's one of the most developed characters in the show. She feels completely different at the beginning and end, but the transition between the two feels very natural. With her arc of moving from true neutral to lawful good and learning to connect well with others, as well as her adorable relationship with Jalaram. I also consider her one of the most entertaining characters, especially in the later seasons. Her no-nonsense mum attitude she develops towards others, especially with Hannah and her own husband, is a perfect acting role for Eliora. She also has a ton of awesome moments in battle, such as her duel with Elvana and the Zaweldo bullcrap she pulled. She also has my favourite backstory out of the PCs, mostly due to the excellent little Songbird video. Oh, and she is hot as well. Dragonmaster77 writes, I voted A. Faye, I think, is the character with the most development out of all the characters. At the start, she was isolated and was very distrustful of most of the group. She then went through massive changes, caring about all the characters, even Owen to some regard, I think, and her and Giles' romance are one of the biggest parts of the story. Hikari Ino writes, Faye was definitely a highlight for me in the series for two things, character development and romance. While in the beginning a bookworm, in the end, while still a bookworm, she became this kick-ass mage. Her romance with Jay was beautiful, and she was kin and I was at the end of my seat. Wicked Cat writes, oh, she is definitely an A. She sure has grown from being the songbird in the cave's trust issue to one of the most powerful warriors in Jem's army. She's kind of like Star Trek's Deanna Troi. Yeah, you might want to explain yourself on that one. In the group, she always listens to people and wants to help them through their problems, but she is not afraid to get down and dirty with magic when she needs to be. I love her romance with Jay, loved her sisterly bond with Jem, her motherly bond with Han was so cute, and I like her snarky side with Lucid. She was the caregiver of the group, and you better not mess with her. Your explanation is satisfying. Magical Dude writes, I'm giving Faye an A because, well, she's amazing. She tried so hard to change and succeeded so she can help Jaminia, and I really love the relationship with her and Jalaram. At this point I could talk more about how great she is, but honestly people could word it better than I could. JOC64 writes, Faye is an A, rhyme intended. She's one of the tritagonists of Welcome to the Show, probably one of the most influential characters in and out of universe. She's had such an impact on the whole series. Also, here's my reaction to the prelude of the battle with Elvana. Ooh, got the fight! Got the fight! Shh! Got the fight! C-Note Major writes, Faye gets an A from me because she really did have great character development. She started out as the bookworm who knew everything but trusted no one, and the team kind of listened because she knew a lot. However, by the end, she had earned everyone's trust and came out of her own protective shell. Yes, everyone loves everyone on the team, but I feel that to most everyone, Faye's opinion mattered the most. She'll be the first they would go to for advice for pretty much anything, and not because she knew everything, but because she extended the most trust. She no longer lives solely for the books, but for the well-being of her friends and those connected to them. And this is where I'd actually like to make a bit of a comment here, because he or she raises an, or they, apologies, raise an interesting point. Now, I do disagree that Faye was a source of knowledge in the earlier books. Funnily enough, that was actually Jalaram more often than not who was providing the exposition and the knowledge they travelled through towns and places that he was familiar with. However, what Faerthurin became probably the most invaluable for, besides holy crap her magical power, was, as someone said earlier, the heart of the group. While Jalarim could be there as the team leader, keeping them stable, focused, and with a plan in mind, Faerthurin was the one to get them, to center them when they began to fall apart, when they would start bickering or become lost or confused or emotionally wrecked. There's a reason why everyone, not just Jalarim, but everyone seems to be at each other's throats when she's kidnapped by Elvana. Just as bad, if not worse, than when they were taken in hell. While Ivan was good at keeping everyone's spirit up when times were easy, he himself struggled with what to do when times were the most difficult. But it's funny, or perhaps extremely fitting, that the character who went through the most mental trauma and abuse was the one best equipped to help everyone else through their emotional baggage. Alicia Lene writes, I voted A because her growth was steady and she was enjoyable to watch change from disliking others to warming up and letting people in. Her concern and caring about her mother and trying to help her father be spared despite how he treated her just feels. And then his spitting on her face, it was wonderful, and others have already said more than I can't word without repeating them. M. Dawson 4705 writes, I give Faerthurin an A. In my mind, she's the best character in the show from an objective standpoint because of her stunning character growth and amazing relationships. That said, I do find a couple characters more entertaining. Faye stepped into her own after meeting the party, finally being able to put her past with her father behind her by a relationship with Jaminia, Amber, and of course, Jalarim. However, she didn't stop there. She went on to make a difference in others' lives, whether it was protecting Hunter and Bartor, adopting Lark, or helping Arkoth be redeemed. Faye's conversation with Arkoth was one of the high points of Season 3 for me. She had overcome her past and changed her alignment, and she helped someone else to do the same. The dialogue was truly touching, and it made Arkoth's redemption even more awesome. Overall, Faye's an amazing character, and I hope she makes an appearance in Shadows of the Old World. Son of Heaven writes, I don't have much to say that hasn't been repeated. Faye's an A-tier character. She went from a close-off bookworm to one of the strongest female characters in the series, and I was not factoring in her magic when I said strong. The team was blessed to have her around, and we can't forget that our own player had to admit that she, the player, is a blessing to her friends. Yes, I did get her to admit to that. Finally, Soundwave writes, I give Faerthurin an A because, in an odd comparison, she reminds me of that one friend that everyone has who was originally the loner bookworm that later becomes the caring big sister of the group. Aside from her personality and her beauty, internal and external, her growth in overcoming her mistreatment from her father was very pleasing to witness. In all honesty, Faye was and always will be one of the strongest characters in the campaign. And that's all we've got for you today, folks. As always, links to both the Discord and also the first season are in the description if you want to check the series out. Unfortunately, next time we're going to be covering a character with some baggage, as when we come back to this, we will be doing an autopsy of Cross Dalgo.